Rama 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 Bhagwan Shri Yogi Ramsuratkumar ki Jai. Sarvam Yogi Ramsuratkumaraarpanastu. For one more session of Bhagwan's Divya Nama Sankirtan. Let's express our extreme gratitude to Bhagwan for this fortune. It is indeed a fortune. Fortune of Shakti. No small grace. We see that this grace, we've been having glimpses of the glory of this grace, the glory of this Kripa Samudram, the ocean of grace. Now today, we shall see two more of such stories of glory. Now today, we shall see two more of such stories of glory. We were talking about the ashram. In continuation of that, we could relive 193 November to 2001. He lived there. Sudama House had the great, great fortune, blessing. We have Bhagwan after Bhagwan began to live in Sudama, we had a tap, as they call it, fixed there on the terrace, the open ground of the terrace, the floor of the terrace. For some practical reasons, from time to time a battalion of monkeys would visit and they would play havoc around the mango tree, the amla tree. And one of them, after they ate up everything, they would feel thirsty. And they had the brain to open the tap, but they wouldn't close it. Monkeys, being monkeys, it wouldn't strike them to close it. It just didn't matter. Everything is theirs. Everything that's available in nature, they own up. They don't wait to ask. They would drink and then leave it. The beginning we didn't understand because the water would drain. And then we would remember it was hardly any time since we filled it up, and how could this drain? And then we found out it was the monkey. So after that we changed this plastic one to an ever silver, a metallic one. And then it was not only open, usually it would be left open and the water would drain, but after some time we found that there was no pipe at all. This ever silver pipe was gone. Then we fixed up a brass pipe there, another metallic one, and that was also gone after some time. So mysteriously, they seemed to be disappearing, and we could not put it down to the monkeys because the monkeys won't steal. They're very honest, though they behave as though they own everything around. They would not steal. They are very honest people. And then one day, a boy was doing the stealing and he was caught red-handed. So he was taken to Bhagwan expecting some punishment. Because Bhagwan was there in the body, people could not handle it themselves, so he was promptly taken to Bhagwan. He was a teenager and probably had been doing it for quite some time. And this time when he was caught, everybody expected some harshness from Bhagwan by way of correcting him. But all that Bhagwan did, as soon as Bhagwan saw this boy, he called him near, he stroked his body, he spoke very tenderly, he blessed him nicely, and then he called the then trustee, Mani. Mani, this beggar would like you to feed this boy. Please take him and give him some food. We do not know what was involved for Bhagwan's this strange behavior, but surely there must have been something. The boy was probably driven to stealing because there was lack of food at home. But people, anyone else except Bhagwan, would not have been kind, would have beaten him up nicely so that he would not forget. Even if they let him go, he would have had some kind of punishment which he would never forget again. Such is the grace, kindness of Bhagwan. This is expected. There are other stories like this. This is just one example. It was after Mahasamadhi of Bhagwan, some 6 or 7 years before. There was one man who looked very decent. He was decently dressed. And he had applied this red mark on his forehead as the mark of devotion. He would come promptly at 7:30 in the morning. And then he would sit with us in the Pradhan Mandir, sing very nicely. He had a good voice and he was singing very nicely. It impressed people. So oftentimes we found ourselves asking him to lead on, and we would follow. And then he was found sometimes sweeping the place in front of Swagat Mandap, and he would do it very neatly. He would clean up the places. But then, at that time, some constructions had been taken up, and there were many, many iron rods, iron angles, and some important things were left there in the Ashram Girivalam path, here and there. And mysteriously they were found missing. Of course, sometimes people didn't notice even, but then when they did notice, they found them missing. And then it was a mystery who was doing it, because the many workers were suspected. But then one day, something very expensive was gone. The old Darshan Mandir, the first Darshan Mandir where Bhagavan began to give darshan, it was locked. It used to be locked. There is this Thulabaram. They would keep a huge balance where people who prayed for certain things, certain prayers were answered by Bhagavan, and in the wake of that, they would buy some sugar or plantains or rice or something, and they would donate the weight of that equal to their own weight. Now this balance was there with its brass chain. It was hung there from a hook, and the brass chain on either side of the pans, very expensive. It cost nearly 6,000 rupees when they bought it. And suddenly, one day, they were found missing. Very expensive one, and it was a locked door. How could anybody enter? Again, we did not know who did that, so the time went on for some. The time passed, a few months passed again. After that, one day, this man, who used to sing so nicely, was always dressed up nicely, who looked very decent by common standards, he was found meddling with some iron angles in one place, heaped up in one place. He had stolen them and kept it because he could not take it out immediately. He had kept it hidden in a place. And when he was trying to put them in a bag, when he was about to move, two ashram workers had seen him. He was caught red-handed. And because they had been feeling that things were missing and the workers were all suspected, and nobody knew who did that, and suddenly they had the scene right in front of them, and they knew instantly how things were disappearing. They got wild and they beat him up. They were angry because everybody thought he was a decent man. He was very devoted to Bhagwan. He was singing the name. He was even leading sometimes. And there was no way one could suspect him of such a mean thing. So when he was caught red-handed, was beaten up, and then handed over to the authorities of the ashram, and then he was questioned. But that man hung his head and would not answer anything. He was very obstinate, would not answer, and at one point we did not know how to handle him at all. And then somebody said if we'll just let him go, he would continue to do it. If he would not do it here, he would go to some other ashram and do the same thing. Maybe he needed a harsh lesson to come out of it. So they promptly rang up the police people, and they came and arrested him and took him away. So here we were expecting the news that he was jailed. Instead, after a few hours, we got a call from the police station saying, yes, this man is there. He has admitted stealing many things. It's been going on for some time in your ashram, nobody noticed. But we cannot jail him. We cannot put him in prison. When we removed his shirt, we found some marks. Somebody had beaten him up, and the marks are left on his back. And then they said politely, sir, we have no right to do this to anybody. Anyone who beats up another person without any proper enquiry has to be jailed also. Since somebody belonging to your ashram had done it, we have to come there, arrest those people, and then only we can put this man in prison. They have violated the law. They have to be arrested also. If this man has to be thrown into jail, then the other thing has also to be done. So we would like to let you know. Then the ashram was in a dilemma, because those two workers were sincere workers, hard-working. They've been there for several years, and this they have done without knowing. They had reacted emotionally, and all because of their devotion to Bhagwan, that the ashram property is being stolen unnecessarily. How could anybody do it to Bhagwan? So that was their reaction. So the ashram said, no, it's okay. There is no case against Srinivasan. You can let him go. If you cannot put him in jail, because of this, it's okay, you can let him go. We don't want our ashram workers arrested for this, because it's purely out of love for Bhagwan, out of devotion for Bhagwan. They had done it, and they had reacted in the heat of the moment. So we cannot hand over. Then the inspector said, in which case, sir, we cannot jail this person also, we have to leave him. Then, of course, finally he was let out. And when we heard it, we wondered how, despite his stealing constantly, systematically, for quite some time, for quite a year, I think, almost a year, doing this kind of thing without anybody's knowledge, and finally the 6,000 rupees, the expensive chain from inside this old Darshan Mandir. He was released. He was not given any punishment by law. And then it struck all of us because he was singing the name. Whether he was devoted to Bhagwan or not, he was here promptly every day, and he would sing the name in front of Bhagwan's murti day after day after day. And he would sing so well. Then we knew it was Bhagwan's Leela, that Bhagwan did not want him to be punished. We remembered how Bhagwan treated the other thief. And Bhagwan in his own way did a Leela and released this man. Probably he was also chanting, because he was so much used to chanting the name. He was also chanting Bhagwan's Nama to be released, not to be put in jail for quite some time. So Bhagwan granted even that. Such is the compassion of Bhagwan, such is the greatness of chanting the name. Of course, we used to make a joke of it and laugh. That's how he used to come and how he took everybody for a ride, singing so devotedly Bhagwan's Nama and stealing behind. And then we would say, oh, Nama works. How Nama comes to the rescue of even such a thief. And then we would laugh merrily. But it gives us a glimpse of his compassion. This Bhagwan is here, right in front of us. And this Bhagwan would not punish us once we regret whatever mistake we have done. If we regret honestly and appeal to him for forgiveness, Bhagwan would come to our rescue. So we shall pray to Bhagwan, no matter what the world has done, to invite today's situation where the whole world is caught in the deadly grip of this virus.